Well, we started our project wondering about people, and
The future of human civilization.
we thought about how we got to be sitting here together and realized that we all came to live here from different places. So we started thinking about how and why people are moving.
We learned that in the course of this century, immigration is projected to increase significantly, and it's going to have a big impact on our cities.
95% of urban growth in the next 15 years will be in the developing world, where dense cities are seen as the way to more prosperous and productive future. We should ask, why are people moving?
Well, it's the usual suspects: more opportunities, better jobs, education and healthcare, or to escape persecution and poverty. Overall, people have the perception that life will be better in cities.
So does it actually happen like this?
No, of course not. This trend has been called the urbanization of poverty. When we think about why this is happening, it's worth it to mention that a lot of people think immigration is a bad thing and want to make it stop. But Ian Golden, a professor at Oxford, disagrees.
Well, not only is the economic impact of immigration positive, but the intangible impact they have is invaluable. He calls it the innovation effect.
Migrants are the source of dynamism in a society because they bring a diverse perspective into their new environment. Immigration equals innovation.
So, even though immigration is the starting point, it's actually integration. How migrants settle into a new social and economic community, that makes relocating worth its while in the end.
Where is this happening?
We're looking at India, specifically Mumbai. Today, Mumbai is the 9th largest city in the world with a population of around 19 million. Over the next 5 years, it's estimated that this will grow by another 6 million people and become the world's second largest city. Meanwhile, Mumbai already has the world's biggest slum, and that's probably not going to change.
But who's moving and why?
The population is growing because people are moving in overwhelmingly from rural areas. In the countryside, there's also a general lack of opportunity across the board. Most of these rural-urban transplants live in informal settlements, and they work in informal sectors as well.
So most of them end up as street vendors, house cleaners, day labourers, doers of odd jobs. And there are a lot of them. Many don't want to do these sorts of jobs, but they feel they have no other choice. Just looking at street vendors, there are currently about 250,000 in Mumbai alone, and that number is only going to increase as the city grows. Even though they provide an important service in the city, they are working in a legal grey area.
Leslie Alphen has said that the problem with people in any kind of grey area is that they have a lot of very useful and important skills which just aren't being recognised by society. She says they're dismissed resources, which is the same situation for street vendors and other people in the informal economy in Mumbai. So this set us up with a question.
How could we design or facilitate an alternative occupation to street vending and the informal economy for rural, urban migrants?
The first thing they recognize is that these people are still part of a system, but it's a very broken system with a lot of victims. So we scrapped it and built a new one that looks like this.
Let's break it down.
This is Raju. He was born in the country, but now he's grown up and has a family of his own, and he can't make ends meet with farming. So he moves his family to the city. Like many other transplants from the countryside, Raju and his family move into a slum. The people there are Raju's new community. He has no formal qualifications, so he becomes a street vendor like many of his peers. The work is hard, the days are long, and on top of this, Raju is subject to harassment and extortion to be able to keep working. He barely earns enough to send his kids to school. But one day, whilst hard at work, he meets Anish. Anish used to be a street vendor, but now he works for Spark, a social enterprise based in their neighbourhood. Raju likes how this sounds and decides to have a look. At Spark, he undertakes a 2-month paid training period. Now Raju is qualified to work for Spark and becomes a full-time employee. He receives a small pay rise, a kit of equipment required for his work, and a certificate to recognise he is qualified. Raju is now a local manufacturer for Spark. Spark has helped him to open a bank account through which he is paid, and he also pays his taxes. After a year of work, Raju is rewarded by a small share in the company. Its success is his success.
Okay, so how does the system around the social enterprise work?
Raju comes from an informal urban community where the social enterprise works. They sell the products he makes and receives a weekly wage for them. The products he makes are sold online to outside buyers. This helps keep the price down for the local buyers.
Raju and the other makers at Spark also work with local universities. They provide real-world insight for students and researchers developing new tech and products. Spark makes it a priority to draw from local suppliers to keep money circulating within the community. As a for-profit enterprise, Spark uses its profits to develop a rural outreach program to fund its own incubator, where employees like Raju can apply for funding to launch their own businesses. As more and more people join Spark, the incubator helps more and more of them to set up on their own. This creates a network of legal tax-paying local manufacturers embedded in their own community and directly serving its needs.
While we map this out with the data from Mumbai, this basic system could be replicated anywhere else around the world with similar needs.